Take two. So I just came back from home after what felt like 8 hours of straight bullshit. And I just wanted to yap about something. So, here, for context, I'm Indian. Crazy, I know. I'm Indian. What that implies is in grade 11, when I did science in India, my grades were abysmal. Atrocious. Matter of fact, I got a 61 in grade 11 chemistry. That sounds like a foreign concept to a lot of people. However, that was a good grade. That was a good grade. And this was like school level. Like this was CBSE standard. Um in my in my tuition, I got way worse. I used to get like negatives in math whenever we used to do JEE advanced type questions. And JEE, for people who don't know, is like the, I guess you could say, like, imagine the SAT for university people, except it's on steroids and even university people can't solve it. Yeah, that's basically what the JEE is. And you need to pass the advanced level of it to get into university. To get into university. So, understand my dismay when I look at stuff like people getting 95s, 97s and being sad about it. People getting 80s and being sad, 70s and being sad about it. So, and on one hand, I do understand, even even the simplest people could understand that there's like something going wrong here. Stuff is too easy. Therefore, if you get a low grade, it's okay. It's like I u- I used to jump for joy when I used to get those grades. I used to be so happy whenever I got like above a 50%. I remember the first time that I got, I think it was a 60 out of 64, which is like, if my math isn't wrong, it's somewhere close to, I actually don't know, but I'm not that good at math, but whatever it is, I think it's like a 17 out of 18. 18? Oh, 15 out of 16. So that's like, it's like an 87.5, 93.7, 93.75. 93.75. I got that in physics. That was my highest recorded grade ever in grade 11 physics. Highest ever. And same exam, -4 in math. -4 out of 64. I'm gonna let that simmer in for a second. I got a -4 out of 64. You might be wondering how that's possible. Well, JEE has this funny thing called partial marking, and with that they have negative marking. So if it's all multiple choice or integer based, and if you get a multiple choice wrong, you lose marks. You don't get a 0, you lose marks. Um, it's a bit unconventional, but so is most stuff in India. So I guess that justifies that. Back to the point. I'm just looking here, right, and I see all these people complaining about like stuff like basic level, like equation level physics. Like you put the numbers into a formula and you get an answer, and that's all. That's, you don't need to think beyond that. I see people complain about stuff like that, and to an extent, it's this system's fault, right? Like the system hasn't taught you that well. So, of course, you think that a high grade equivalates to you being good at that field. But it doesn't. Because, and I know I'm talking with like 2020 hindsight. To me, what I did in grade 11 is like grade like it's second year or first year university. I get that. I get that, but like it's the sheer level of ignorance which confuses me. It's you getting a 95 on one of these tests that are designed to baby you and thinking you're the shit. It's like I'm it's so confusing how people here are defining themselves by a grade, defining themselves by just the actions they've made so far, defining themselves. Like, how are you defining anything? You are still alive. You have so much more shit to do than worry about defining yourself. It's so weird because you'll see people be like, okay, wow, this guy has a 99 in calc. He must be very smart. Well, two things. One, having a 99 in calc in NA is basically equivalent to having like being able to ride a bicycle with supporting wheels at the ripe age of 27. That the both of them are the same. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but like it's it's not that hard. It's not that hard. We did the calc that the calc that people do here we did in physics. The first month of physics. That we have an entire unit called basic mathematics and that falls under that. So I'm sat here looking at these people complain about their high grades and talk about numbers and grades and I got this on this test. This unit was hard. This unit was so difficult. And I'm just like, you don't know what the word difficult means. You don't. You don't. No one does. Not even me. Not even me. Like even I understand that to some university student in like third or fourth year, I am living in blissful ignorance. Like I haven't done 3D vector calculus yet. I haven't done that. I haven't done any of the Maxwell equations yet. I haven't even touched electromagnetism. I'm struggling with capacitors to begin with. I understand that. But these people are so wondrously ignorant of what lies ahead of them. It's fascinating. It really is. Because you look, I look at them, and I look at myself, and I don't think I'll ever find. Well, I think it's gonna take me another 2 years before I find an environment where it doesn't feel like an us versus you kind of situation pertaining to me, because all throughout this year I've been separated by all of my teachers except for bio, and I am an equal with everyone in biology, and I struggle with stuff. But I know there's a lot worse coming up, but I struggle with stuff too. Um, and I'm just I'm left astounded by the level of ignorance that people exhibit here. It's truly remarkable. It's a thing to awe, to admire. Wow. The, the, the light from my eyes gets sucked out every single time I look at these people talking about the subjects that they study and being like, guys, I'm so good at this. I can do everything. People talk about locking in. Whole time we're talking in class for like the entire hour, just yapping. People talk about people talk about studying, but don't study. It's all LARPing. It's all LARPing. That's what I hate. That's what I hate. You don't study. You don't know what it means to learn. And then they're like, I've been through so much shit. Academically, of course. I won't judge any other parts of your life. That's completely you. And honestly, I've had a very good life. Way too good to judge people about what they feel bad about in their life. I wouldn't do that anyways, but academically speaking, you'll see people be like, I've been through so much. I've struggled and I've gotten here. And I just feel sad. Because it gets so much worse. And I don't mean to be a pessimist. I want to be hope. God, my left cheek is like completely numb. I want to be hopeful. Right? I want people to be like willing to look at all of this and be like, you know, there might be something in the future that I find easy. There probably will be, but it's just that this education system doesn't prepare you for the difficulty curve that comes in university. And one of my friends already said this. One of my friends already was like, I am not prepared for what's going to be in university, as he says is in his usual monotone voice and staccato flow of speaking. But I just wonder. I truly do wonder. How are people going to fare in university when shit actually gets hard? And when does shit actually get hard? Because then, maybe then, finally, I'll be able to relate to someone. Maybe this entire rant is just because I am lonely. Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe that's the cause. I don't know. Or maybe I struggle with this like so much. Why I struggle with understanding why people let a single grade define them, define their existence, define everything that they live for, define a single event. Let a single event define everything you live for. That doesn't happen in high school, bro. You have an entire life to be more than what you are right now, and yet you focus about what you've done in 4 years. 4 years is such a small fraction of your time. Let me pull out a calculator. 4 over 80, 1 over 20, that's 5% of your life. 5% of your life, and you're like, bro, I'm cooked. What the fuck? This entire video is gonna feel targeted for, like, it's gonna sound like I'm targeting certain people, but if you have a if you think you're smart and you're in grade 12 anything like AP whatever, and you have a high grade and you think you're the shit, please don't. Please don't. This is my formal like messaging to like humble yourself. Even me, like I'm stupid, right? You're the same, even if you don't want to admit that, because there's so much you don't know. There's so much that I don't know. I hate it when people call me smart. I hate that. They don't realize how stupid I actually am. They don't see that. To them, I'm smart, sure, but I wonder 2 years down the line when some of these people go to engineering and they see they they see the stuff that I do now and it doesn't look like hieroglyphics to them anymore. I wonder what they'll think. Will they think, "Oh, he struggled with this? This is so easy." And why do I have to wait 2 years for that? Have to wait 2 years to find someone who relates to me? Really? Is that my punishment? Like, university decisions too. It's like, what crowd are you pleasing? You know, when it comes to university admissions, I look at this and I'm like, well, these guys want such an insanely high average that two things happen. One, everyone inflates their grades, the high schools mostly, and two, it all looks like abysmal. Like, I guess I need to expand on it better. Two things happens when universities. Two things happen when universities look at your grades. They be like, they're like, oh, this guy got a 97 in calc. However, we have like 14 billion other people that have a 98. So high grades lose their meaning. That's the first thing. That's where you instantly go wrong. To follow that up, the weighing between grades and extracurriculars, and this is going to go on to another tangent on why I hate the American education system, the North American education system. There's such a focus on extracurriculars only for your grades to completely overshadow them. Completely. Like, you're telling me that a person who does all these things, right? You're you're telling me student council president, uh, debate club member, computer science vice president. You're telling me that people like people like these people don't get into university just because they have a low grade. I mean, why even bother? Why even bother? And again, I'm saying that with hindsight. I know I'm saying that with hindsight because I'd expect better from universities, right? I'd expect them to be like, "Oh, you know what? You have so many extracurriculars. We forgive you for a low grade somewhere." You know? And they don't. And they don't. Like, this is the audience you're trying to please, and this is not a one-off instance that's just happened this time around. This has occurred numerous times over and over again. It's well documented, and people look into it. People read it. This is a well-known fact that universities care more about grades than your extracurriculars. For whatever reason it is. And so I'm not saying that like don't focus on extracurriculars, right? I'm saying why bother caring about universities that don't care about who you are? If they define you by a number, why bother worrying about them at all? Prestige? Is that it? Is that the reason? Me personally, I I'm gonna use a bit of a personal example to me. I want to go to the University of Toronto, right? For only one reason, and that is I think it's gonna be hard, and I am desperately like begging for something that is difficult, so I can find a crowd to whom I can be like, this is tough, this is difficult, and they can resonate with me. Because most of the times I'm like, hey, this is something challenging that I found. And then they're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Why are you writing in hieroglyphics? Why are you writing in Persian? So that's reason number one why I can't wait to like go to university, right? I want stuff to be difficult and I want people to do difficult stuff with me so that way I can resonate with people because I haven't in over the past year and a half. I've always been isolated. Secondly, and this is a rather big one. I wanted to go to U of T because it's just so much more like academics focused than other universities look to be. And as a result, people have low GPAs. So now you're actually struggling. Now you're actually like, oh, I have a 2.1 grade point average. So there's no longer that phase of, well, I have a 97, so even if I don't understand what's going on in class, I can LARP my way out of it. There's nothing like that. Uh, th- that isn't a thing in universities. You can't LARP, and U of T has a great record of that, with how intensive and rigorous their programs are supposedly. From what the documents and question sheets that I've seen on the internet have said, it's very hard, very challenging, and even then, this is just in my eyes the best of the worst, right? In my eyes, despite the poor living conditions, I still think that IIT is by far the best university you could go to, mainly because of the difficulty curve that comes before it, which in turn means in university you spend so much of your time doing stuff that I wouldn't be doing here until my PhD. You do that in your bachelor's in India. So despite like the poor living conditions, I still think it's the best, like objectively the best university academics wise. But people here spend their lives for these universities who don't even care about them beyond their grades, to be fair. I got into Waterloo. I have zero extracurriculars, mind you. I volunteered for like 40 hours over a week, and I volunteered for another 27 over another week. That's it. That's it. All the volunteering record that I have is in those two events, localized, and I have nothing beyond that. People here have Word documents with like 4 different pages outlining, oh, here's what I did in my grade 9, it's just like a full page of shit. And I look at that and I'm like, my bro, that is insane. Do you understand how impressive that is? And then they just throw that all away because they didn't get into a university that didn't care about that in the first place. You see how bullshit this is? The education system is like, hey, you know what? We're going to make school easy for you so you can focus on this. Right? Then you focus on this. And when you end up doing poorly at school, even if it's just mildly poorly, right? Even by a small amount, when you start doing poorly at school, the universities are like, hey, well, see this? Yeah, none of this matters anymore. Like no mames. Only this matters. Only your grades, which to us look like shit. Bah. You want to go to that university? You want to go to a university where that's the norm. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And it only gets worse. For me, personally. And this is going to get a lot more personal. For the past 1.5 years, I have not felt like I haven't felt like I've made a connection with anyone. Not truly. And it's solely because I live in an academic world, while everyone else also live in an academic world. Let me explain. For example, in physics, when we were doing capacitance, we had a formula. Plug numbers in, you get your shit. I'm doing capacitors to this day. I still struggle with them. But people don't care because they can just use the formula, plug in the numbers, and get an answer. Why would they care? So I spend my time learning more and more, again and again, about stuff like this that doesn't even matter to other people. And it's just so weird because there seems to be this notion about me that I am a know-it-all, see-it-all, be-it-all, but I just want to relate to people. I know more than you do. That's not an achievement. Please see it like that. Please do. Because if I listen to them, my ego is gonna get inflated. To counteract that, I have to humble myself every single day. Just go home and be like, no, you're not the shit, bro. You're not that guy. You aren't that guy. And other people don't do that because they don't have to, and it feels so alienating to be like, to be separated because you're slightly above average. It's sad. It really is. I don't feel like I've made a connection with anyone over the past 2 years that I've been here. 1 year. I don't know. Maybe in university, eh? Maybe 4 years down the line, when I'm finally not speaking hieroglyphics to other people, they'll be like, oh, I see where you're coming from now. Or maybe it'll be the same shit then. Maybe even then they'll just be like, just plug it into this formula and you'll be fine. That scares me. That terrifies me. And one of the reasons why I do miss India sometimes is I know that in India people wouldn't be like that. Or maybe they would. I don't know. I don't know anything. And I hate when people act like they do. Because they don't either. Be blissfully ignorant, I guess. Sure. I give up. It's not worth trying to resonate with people here. I'm a mango in a crowd that likes apples. Why would I fit in? It's whatever.